What's up, YouTube and my fellow gamers? Welcome to another episode of
Game Day!
a reoccurring series that takes place every Tuesday where I play and talk about games that I am passionate and excited about. Today we're taking a look at Project Zomboid, an open-ended zombie-infested sandbox game where you have to survive every day and overcome challenges that you would normally face in a zombie apocalypse. This game is developed by the Indie Stone, and you can purchase it on Steam Early Access for $14.99. I'm really excited to show you more about this game, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Getting started here, there's a couple different options that you can choose from to start a new game. You have Last Stand, which is basically throwing you into the game and having all of the zombies attack you, and it's basically a survival mode to see how long you can last. You can also play that split-screen co-op with a friend, which can be a lot of fun, so I'd recommend checking out some YouTube videos of that. You also have survival mode and sandbox mode. Now, survival mode is basically the default options. It's not going to let you customize your game start. It has the default settings for you to choose and to start the game. So if you want to just get right into the game, go ahead and start with survival mode. But if you want to customize your start, then I would recommend the sandbox mode. After we start a game in survival mode, or sandbox mode, you get to choose the starting town that you want to start in, Muldrow or West Point. West Point has a lot of buildings closer by, and the zombies are going to be in more hordes and packs, whereas in Muldrow, the houses will be spread out, and the zombies will be spread out as well. So feel free to choose whichever option that you want to do. When you're starting sandbox, you can then choose some starting options. So for zombie lore, I like to leave the zombie properties alone, but you can manipulate the zombies if you want to change their behavior. There's a ton of different options you can do from reanimation time to how long they decompose, when you can see them, stuff like that. One of the things that I like to do is change the water shutoff and the electricity shutoff to 0 to 6 months instead of 0 to 2 months. This gives you a little bit more time to play the game and learn the game, because once the water and electricity shut off, then the game is going to be significantly harder if you haven't learned how to build a garden and how to build protection and fences and stuff like that. And especially rainwater, collecting rainwater from buckets. If you haven't built rainwater collection buckets and things like that, then the game's going to be really hard for you. So if you're just starting off for the first time, I'd recommend turning those options up a little bit to give you more time to learn the game. For character customization, there's really not a lot of settings to customize, but you can change your hair color, your body type, and beard type, and you can choose between male and female. It's kind of hard to see your properties. Hopefully they do change that in the future, but right now you just have a small window with your character in it, so it's really hard to see the different types that you select. On the next page you have occupation and traits. Now, to make the game really hard, you can start out unemployed, but if you want to have some starting traits, you can choose different options. With an occupation, you can be a police officer, a park ranger, security guard, things like that. Each one of those gives you different starting properties. Police officer makes you a better shooter and faster reloader. Fire officer allows you to break into buildings quicker with an axe. I personally choose construction worker because it gives you thick-skinned, which makes it harder for the zombies to penetrate your skin if they do bite you, which can be game over. If you contract zombification, the game is over. I mean, I've heard that if you drink bleach, it cures it, but I'm not exactly sure on that. However, once you become a zombie, you really can't prevent yourself from dying, and that's usually the end of the game. So you end up watching yourself turn into a zombie and dying. Now, you have green traits and red traits. Red obviously are bad for you, green are good for you. Personally, for me, I like to choose brave, strong, and resilient as my starting positive traits. Brave makes it so that your character isn't scared of zombies as quickly. Strong lets you carry more equipment. So instead of I think 8 items or 8 pounds, you can then carry 16 pounds, so it's basically double. It also allows you to push zombies away from you further with a weapon. And resilient makes it, I think, harder for zombies to pierce your skin as well, so you kind of have like a double protection there if you're a construction worker. Now, there's other negative traits, and you have to have 0 points to spend to start the game. So if you start gaining positive traits, it's going to take points away from you. So that means you have to balance them out with negative traits so that you can have 0 points. So for me, I like to choose short-tempered, unlucky, light drinker, and brooding. Short-tempered doesn't really affect anything right now because there aren't any other NPCs in the game, so it's kind of a free one to get. So I'd recommend getting that one. But unlucky also makes you unlucky. I'm not exactly sure what scenarios that affects, but it could affect you getting zombification or breaking bones, things like that. Light drinker, obviously you can't drink a lot of alcohol, and brooding makes it longer for you to get over issues. So those are the traits that I like. You can feel free to choose whichever ones that you like. Light eater is also good and makes it so that you don't have to eat food as often. Athletic is good if you want to be mobile and run a lot. But at the start of the game, it basically tells you that there's no hope of survival. You're basically, this game is going to tell you how you die. This is your story and how long you're going to really live in the game. When you start out in Project Zomboid, you start out in a house. Now, you don't really have many items, but you can loot pretty much anything that you find. You can do that by just clicking on any of the items, a table stand, a book dresser, clicking on it, and then taking those items for yourself. It's really important to find a weapon, and baseball bats are really good as a starting weapon. You can find hammers, axes. There's also guns, but those weapons are a lot harder to find. But if you find a baseball bat, those are always good. A frying pan is also really good as a starting weapon. But each weapon does have durability, so as you use those items, they will eventually break, and you then have to repair them or find new ones. Normally what I like to do when I start out in a game is I try to take all of the items that I can from the starting location. Usually the starting location isn't an area that you want to stay in, and you want to kind of venture out and find another location to call your home base. Now personally for me, I like to base my house or my base of operations in a 2-story building. That way you can actually escape out the window. You can build sheet ropes and if you have nails, you can actually then create a sheet rope and shimmy out the window. So if zombies do happen to sneak into your home while you're sleeping, which does actually happen, you need a quick exit, you can do that and jump out the window. If you do jump out a window without a sheet rope, you'll probably break a bone. Breaking bones in Project Zomboid is not a good thing because it's going to create a lot of stress for your character. Your character does have all these different moods, and you'll notice different moods that happen at the top right of the screen. And these moods occur as your character experiences different things. So if your character is getting attacked by a lot of zombies, his stress level is going to go up. His aim is going to get less and less. He's going to get winded after attacking a lot of zombies. So you really have to pay attention to your character's mood and what they're experiencing. If you're caught out in the rain, your character is going to get wet, and then he's going to get a fever. And then so you need to get inside as quick as you can, or find some medicine if he does contract a fever. So at the very beginning of the game, I usually start breaking into other houses. You can break into houses different ways. You can smash the window, or you can try to open the window, which takes longer, but you can eventually open it. Once you climb through the window, then you can pretty much loot the house and look around. You have to be careful because zombies do appear in the houses, but sometimes if you do break open a window, any zombies that are nearby will hear it. So you can then loot different items in the home, and really the most important things that you want to find are a saw, a hammer, and an axe. Those 3 items allow you to chop wood, and then the hammer allows you to build items. So if you want to build a fence around one of your bases of operations, you can do that. And then you can also build a garden. To build a garden, you're going to need seeds. So you're going to have to find planting seeds by looting different houses and storing those seeds. So normally what I do is I find the house that I want to store everything in, and then I take small trips. I'll actually travel to one home, I'll loot it, travel back to my base of operations, and store all of the items in different areas wherever. I store all my food in the fridge, and then you store all your other items wherever you want. There is a lot of inventory management involved in this game, so it kind of can get tedious if you're, when you're working around with all of the items and stuff like that, which is one negative thing that I don't like. But again, there are a lot of items, and that's just what the game is about. It's about building things and using these items to survive. So there's going to be a lot of customization, kind of like Minecraft. You have to figure out what items can be paired with each other. So there's a good wiki guide about Project Zomboid that tells you all the things that you need to know. But if you want to figure out all of the different ways to combine items, then you're just gonna have to play around with it and figure it out. But if you really want to know how to progress further in the game, I recommend checking that wiki page out, because it'll tell you all of the things that you need to combine to build those items. As you progress further into Project Zomboid and you get outside of the residential area and you get closer to some of the locations that actually have good items, kind of like your fast food restaurants, your schools, your libraries, churches, police stations, all of those locations are going to have better items. You can go to a doctor's office and find medicine. All of those things are items that you're definitely going to want to loot. But as you get closer to those locations, you'll notice that there's a lot more zombies in those spots. So you really have to be careful. You really have to stay underweight. As you carry a lot of items, your character becomes overweight. You can actually break bones by carrying too many items. So you really have to be careful what you overload your character with. This game, again, is about survival, and you really want to find a lot of better equipment than what you would find in houses. Tool sheds, warehouses, those places are going to have better items. They're going to have weapons, most likely, but they'll have hammers, maybe, and a saw and an axe, so that you can cut down trees, because you need to cut down trees and have wood to be able to build the different things that you can use with the hammer. Once you have the hammer, then you can see a build menu, which will allow you to build different items. So you can see all of the different things that you can build from the build menu. Now, finding a hammer is not as easy as it looks, but you have to keep looting different sheds and warehouses until you find one. But you really want to find those items before the water and electricity run out. Again, otherwise the game is going to be progressively harder for you as you search for those items. The thing I like about Project Zomboid is it really fits the zombie apocalypse setting really well. I mean, if you make a lot of noise, it's going to attract a lot of zombies. If you set off an alarm from a house, all of the zombies within the vicinity are going to be attracted to it, and you really have to make the choice whether or not to stay and loot the house or leave. And I think that all those choices really make up the greatness of the game, and seeing the choices that you make, whether it's good or bad, can affect the outcome of whether or not you survive. And so you really have to live with the choices that you make. Project Zomboid has a day and night cycle that you really want to pay attention to. It also has a weather system that can really affect the mood of your character. If you're caught out in the rain, your character can get wet, and then he can come up with a fever. So it's really important that if it's raining, you want to stay inside and stay indoors and find something else to do. Work on crafting or reading or something like that. But all of the moods that your character faces are something that you want to try and resolve. So if your character is hungry, it'll let you know. If they're cold, light a fire. If they're tired, then you need to go and rest. Paying attention to those moods is what's going to keep your character happy, and your character can even get depressed as well. And so you really have to manage all of those moods and things that could really happen in a zombie apocalypse scenario. So I really like that factor of the game. Playing Project Zomboid is best if you're playing it with the lights off. I mean, it really, the atmosphere really takes in when the lights are off and you're actually playing this game, especially if the game is actually being played at night as well. So if you're in the game at nighttime playing, it can get pretty scary at times, and that's what I like about the game, because you just don't know if a zombie is going to be around the corner. Now, there's a whole line of sight system where if you're not looking behind you, you don't see what's behind you. So, you actually have to physically move your character in the game world around so that he can see line of sight. The line of sight system is really well done in Project Zomboid, and I really like it because you just don't know what's going to be around the corner until you actually look there. And so that leaves zombies able to surprise attack you and come out of nowhere, which can really freak you out. Project Zomboid still has a ways to go in development. There's still some things that are going to be implemented, such as NPCs, which I'm really excited for, because that's going to add a whole nother level of gameplay. Just like The Walking Dead, you never really knew, when they encountered, when Rick and his group encountered new civilians, you weren't really sure if they were going to be friendly or not, and that's going to be the same way with Project Zomboid. There's going to be NPCs that are probably going to be out fighting zombies, getting eaten alive, and then there might be some that are going to be really well armed and are going to try to kill you or shoot you on sight. I'm not really sure, but I really hope that's how it's going to work, because now you're really going to have to be careful who you encounter in the world. So right now the world is kind of empty. There's only you and the zombies, but eventually there will be NPCs. There's going to be a full wilderness survival system with animals and hunting for food, so I'm really excited to see how that develops. There's going to be, of course, more items, crafting recipes, weapons, and even a Steam Workshop and achievements system. So that'll be fun, and that's always fun as well to get achievements as you progress in the game. There's going to be gamepad support and local 4-player split-screen co-op, so Last Stand mode could be a lot of fun playing 4-player co-op. There's probably some other things as well on the roadmap, but I would definitely check out their website if you want to know more about the game's development, or the Steam forums is also a good place to check up on the game as it develops. For $14.99, I think this game is really a good game to buy if you're looking for a survival game, something that you can have a lot of fun playing, and something that is challenging. This game is very brutal. I mean, you make a mistake and it could be the end of the game and you have to start over. And so some of you may not like that kind of setting, but for me, I find it pretty fascinating. You have one life, you have to protect yourself and try to keep alive as long as you can. And what I really like at the end when you die is it tells you how long you survived for, and then how many zombies that you killed. And I think those are the two most important stats that you would really want to know anyway. And so with that said, that's really a look at Project Zomboid. I'll probably be taking a look at this game further as it develops. If there's any games that you want me to play or cover or talk about, you want to see what I think, definitely let me know in the comments below. I have a lot on my list that I'll be checking out, but game day will vary from time to time. It's not always going to be just me talking about games that I'm passionate about. You will also actually see me playing games with a webcam, how I used to do my old style. But right now I'm really passionate about a lot of indie games, and I know that you guys are too. A lot of you I've seen on Steam playing a lot of the indie games that have been released so far. There's really a lot that are really well done, and ones that I really am passionate about that I play on the side that I want to talk about and let you guys know about them. And so, stay tuned for different types of game days, but game day for me is just every Tuesday is something that I'm passionate about, and it can vary from week to week. So Stay tuned for new and exciting things every week on Tuesday. And with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in for this week's episode, and I'll see you again next time on Game Day.